and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore, you want to be shallow, you want to go up the
You
creek,
want to have a kayak that is sophisticated.
or a kayak that is simple.
You get to choose your own adventure.
Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing.
Ready to rock.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not ready to rock, Jake. I'm not. Where in the world are my headphones? I knew I was missing something.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. You guys can probably hear me, but
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
sound
going
pretty
from
good.
my MacBook speakers.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Does that sound good? Well, maybe I'll run and get them.
You're good. You're good.
All right, I will remove. It doesn't look like the Instagram is streaming live for some reason. So I don't know. For some reason, it's not working. But anyway, does this hat blow me out too much, man? Is this too bright, guys? Probably is. It looks pretty bright on my end.
It's pretty bright.
Yeah, pretty bright.
Very bold. It's on brand for what you've
I just
been
need a
wearing
haircut,
lately.
dude. I need a haircut. So
You need to just put on your snow goggles, like a 10
yeah,
killer.
those Smiths that I wore. Yeah, that's true. It's funny how one little thing can literally like just blow up. You know what I mean? Just become kind of viral in some ways on the internet. You know what I mean? That was one that everyone commented on, and that we just never forget that now.
What's funny is that clip taught me that people really love lampreys, because like I had some, the lamprey falls off that fish, but I also posted one on my own personal channel because I caught that one at Gunnersville with it right between its eyes. And when I posted that clip, people loved it. Like it's got millions of views on like every platform. So that clip of you had just all the makings of like oh man, that's cool moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I got a text that come in. So Hank is saying live stream was not on Facebook, but it's showing on our screen that Facebook is working. So somebody comment if you're on Facebook, and I'll text them with it.
I see it on there.
Okay.
It says we are live.
All right. So maybe we're good. Maybe we're good to go. I don't know. But let me see. Okay. Yes, he says he's got it. All right. Cool. Thank you, bud. Facebook,
Yeah.
Nathan. Yes. All right. People are on Facebook. It's working. Hey, guys, before we get started here, Jake, I just threw this shirt on so you can see, you guys. These are the shirts that the mail, unfortunately, didn't get to Michigan in time. These are the ones we'll get on the website at some point. You guys will be able to buy them. Obviously, you'll get to buy them in Ozarkana.
Here, we have a picture. Here you go. Look at this. We have a picture.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to remove us. Yeah,
Yeah, we have to remove us. Hold on. So there you go. A little preview.
Yeah, the black background made that a little hard to see the kayak anglers in the shot here, on the shirt. So choose your own adventure shirts from Kayak Adventure Series. And I'm excited about today's show, man. Very excited. I know, obviously, I was on vacation last week in the Upper Peninsula when I talked to you and Billy on the live stream and cut out a little early. And it's funny how vacations work, man. Like, you're going to relax, but then it's like you almost need a vacation from the vacation, because on vacation you go so hard sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you want to do all this. And then you almost need like a vacation when you get back, and like you're trying to catch up and recover. It's crazy how vacations tend to work. But it was a good one all in all, and finally getting caught up and a lot of cool new stuff. I'm working way ahead of the game on 2025 stuff for Kayak Adventure Series. All the hard work for this year has been done. And obviously we'll get some updates today on our news and notes segment, and actually all throughout the show, some cool new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we've already announced the first three.
3 stops.
So,
yeah, we're going to show those again, and maybe
and
3 stops. Yeah, first 3.
Not to be confused with actual Boston. It is South Boston. I've got a lot of people asking me like, "Oh, you guys are going to Massachusetts?" No.
I know a lot of people would wish that we would go up there, and we will one day. I know we'll get up to, further up there in that I don't know if it's New Hampshire or Connecticut
Dude, they
or
catch some
Mass,
giant smallmouths, like
Maine.
Winnipesaukee. I know Winnipesaukee gets a lot of like traffic from like boaters and stuff, but like there's a lot of
Yeah.
like small little lakes that just don't get pressured up there. They don't bass
No,
fish.
they don't. I'm telling you, Maine is good. Obviously, everyone knows that. It's a little far out there, but that's kind of like the point of our series. Like, we're going to take you to the best places. You might drive an extra 5 hours, but it's going to be worth it. For being there a whole week, what's 5 hours of extra driving? You know what I mean? Like, what, seriously, what is it worth? It's worth it big time, I think, considering how much better the fishing is. You know what I mean? When you get somewhere that kind of remote, you know, and there's some
Right.
cool little towns with theaters up there. So yeah, should be good. Let me see what's next on our list here. As we move into the news and notes segment here, let's see. I've got, oh yeah, here we go. KAS news and notes presented by Omnia Fishing, guys. Omnia Fishing. I believe we got a code we could put in our. We have a banner of a code somewhere. KAS 15, I think is what it is. But put that in, get a discount for Omnia Fishing, and that premium Pro app is unbelievable. So it's got all the river gauges. It's got, Navionics. It's got all that stuff. Yeah, use code KAS 15 on omniafishing.com. But let's talk about something here. People noticed on our recap there were 2 day 2 dark horses for Michigan. I want to explain that. The guys at Dark Horse, maybe we did last week, but the guys at Dark Horse were so cool, Dark Horse Tackle, they ended up giving away 2, but really Tourney X has a different way they configure the KAS leaderboards now. We no longer see day 1 separately standalone and then day 2, like tournaments used to, or 2-day tournaments probably still do. Our 5 fish are combined between day 1 and 2, and you do see on each of the fish, if it was a day 1 catch or a day 2, you know what I mean, of the 5 fish. But it made it like we didn't realize that update was going to make it nearly impossible for us to figure out, who actually jumped the most places. So we actually made a mistake in Dark Horse.
So it was like literally the difference of like 0.5 inches or something. It wasn't much, but it was like,
no, it wasn't much.
And but, like basically what we did is we tried to find someone who was zeroed on day 1 and then caught the most on day 2, and it turns out there's 2 people that were essentially the same. So
zeroed, yeah,
a lot harder to track that than we initially thought.
It was well, it normally would have been pretty easy if we still had day 1 standings all alone there without, you know what I mean. But that was
in the future. We're just going to take a screenshot and it'll solve that.
Exactly. We'll know. So Trent Martin won that, and Edie still got her boxes.
No, it was Emily Rigney.
Or Emily, sorry. Yeah, Emily.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Emily Rigney. Yeah, I don't know why I was Edie. Yeah,
who
Edie
was
the one
the wife of our 3rd place angler.
Yes, gotcha.
Pretty cool that they fished together.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Very cool. So next up, news and notes here as we're moving on. Guys, Sunday Side Pot has been it's a cool concept, this Sunday extra tournament. And the only reason we did it to begin with was because, when you go to these cool areas, you're almost like, dang, I wish I had more time to fish, like a whole full 2 days. But we're kind of seeing that a day and a half is enough combined with all your pre-fishing. But pre-fishing, let's face it, you don't just catch a bunch of fish. You find some fish, you leave. You don't want to like burn up all your fish. So you're not really fishing. You're not really getting the fun of actually like catching the fish. Obviously you're catching some when you're finding them, but you're not getting the full fun of like being able to just rail on fish nonstop, right? For 2 straight days, like a big national tournament normally is. It's just a day and a half. But we're starting to see that between the pre-fishing and the day and a half, it is enough. Like people are just like,
I think a lot of people too, just if they're going to stay Sunday, they just want to fish. They don't want to like think about it, like, and that's the vibe I got from a lot of people. They're like, yeah, we're going to go out Sunday and just kind of, poke around, see what we find. So,
yeah. So we're going to cancel that for the rest of the events because no one's really entering it. Actually, 6 people entered, 6 or 7 at Shoalipalooza, but literally everyone who entered was so whipped, they didn't even fish. Everybody's here. They didn't even fish on Sunday because they were so whipped. And I think it has a little bit to do with Friday rolls into Saturday quick. And it's, you know what I mean? Like you're getting home a little bit later because that afternoon sesh and you roll in pretty quick. So I think people are just, by that time, if you think about it, they've been up since 4 in the morning or 5 or whatever. especially these summertime events. And they went to bed at, 10 o'clock or whatever it is, 11, who knows how long rigging takes, That's why I think it's an important strategy in the KAS to literally have everything ready for Saturday before you even fish on Friday as much as possible. You know what I mean? And even choose, like Aaron did, to get off the water early on Friday just to get back, because rest is a key component to winning, being alert and fully rested and strong. But the point is, people are getting, it's such a tight window. You're so whipped from getting up early and the whole thing all day, the fishing, the festival, the awards, that at that point, nobody wants to go back out again, at least not early. So, which you didn't have to on the Sunday side pot, but we'll just scrap it until we start getting, 250, 300 people in these events. And then the Sunday side pot can be, it was sponsored by Batteries Plus, can be, have 30 people in it, until we get it big enough like that, we'll just scrap it. So,
I don't see that as a problem.
No, not many people are doing it anyway, but we are sending out a prize to the winner this past week's Michigan's.
Yeah.
So Batteries Plus. Yeah. So we'll send out that prize, and actually just sent them. I don't know if you got it pulled up, but I'll probably find it right here. It's I do want to at least shout out Rob Harrison, who won that. Rob did. So congrats to Rob for winning the Batteries Plus Sunday side pot, and he will forever, until we start that again, be the perpetual champion. There you go, Rob. Congrats, man. So let's see what is up next in our news. And do we have any more news and notes here?
Let's see.
Tyler Bean won GoPro Epic Edit. Did we share that last week on the show, or no? That he won.
We did play it, so people have seen it. It is up on our Instagram twice. You can watch either version. Each version has a little difference to it, but yeah, I mean, it was a good edit. He used a combination of GoPro on drones, self GoPro stuff to make that. It was cool, and he really captured the more cinematic side of it, because not everything has to be about the catch, because part of the being in a kayak is the adventure, going through these shoals, going over logs, dragging your kayaks, going up and under stuff. So it was cool. I liked it.
We'll get Tyler that Hero 12 Black next time we see him, because
we're going to give it to him at Pennsylvania. I've already talked to him, so we'll have one for Tyler at Pennsylvania. Perfect.
And then now GoPro, because this kind of rolls into our next news and notes announcement. GoPro, if you guys notice on the Instagram post that you did with the Epic Edit that Tyler made, we have a new contest. I was on the call with GoPro yesterday, and they decided we want to throw out a new contest for everyone at the Kayak Adventure Series besides the Epic Edit. Okay, this is besides the Epic Edit, which is an edit of a Kayak Adventure Series event. Again, 1 to 3 minutes. Tag us at Kayak Adventure Series, tag at GoPro, and then also you can submit it if you want to the website as well for the Epic Edit, which is under the 4 anglers and then submit footage section. But there's a new contest we've got going on with GoPro that they want to do for us. It's kind of more like a year-long thing. They want to give somebody $1,000 and the latest GoPro. And the reason I'm saying the latest GoPro, Jake, and everybody listening, is because by the time the winner is announced, there will be a newer GoPro, and you'll get the latest, the newest version. So it will be announced probably at Broodstock. So $1,000, the latest GoPro, to whoever wins this contest. All you have to do is tag, at tag. This is only on Instagram for all this stuff, guys. Instagram only. It's just easier for us to have one platform, at GoPro and then at Kayak Adventure Series. And then post your video. It can be a single clip. It could be an actual edit like Tyler. It could be anything, all in between. But we do want to keep it short. You know what I mean? Like 3 minutes and under. So $1,000 in the latest GoPro, and that will be kind of a year long. And it doesn't have to be. This is the kicker. This contest does not have to be during a Kayak Adventure Series tournament. This is just fun fishing, just having your own adventures on your own time, or at the tournament. Tournament can be included, obviously, but this is just anytime. You're just filming with a GoPro anytime. So that's a cool contest from GoPro that we'll be promoting a little bit more. People can win some more money. So
yeah, we basically just want your cool moments on the water. It's really what it boils down to. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Don't forget to, speaking of that, it's a perfect transition. Don't forget to submit your footage. We need footage from Michigan. Jake's going to put together a little edit from that event. And I've got some footage. Alex Rudd's got some good footage. I know you got some, Jake. Jeff Little's got some. We got, several. There's a few people that we've even seen post some YouTube videos already, some of the anglers, but we want any of those good clips, send it to us under the submit footage tab on the kayakadventureseries.com site, and you can be featured in that episode. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
you guys can be featured.
We're going to be using a lot of that footage like after the fact. Like we're going to do an edit basically for each event. Is really
like in the winter. Like those will all be out like done by winter, because we want you guys to have a cool little thing you could binge of Shoalipalooza, Wild Whitehall, Ozarkana, Fiesta on the Susky, the Wisconsin River Fest, and Broodstock.
It looks like we did just get a new submission today.
Boom. That's good stuff. And again, also this is also talking about future events. Ozarkana, Fiesta on the Susky. You guys are up next. Wisconsin River Fest. Start planning your filming now. We as the Kayak Adventure Series want to highlight the anglers, highlight you guys as much as possible. Get your name out there, get your face out there, get your footage out there. It's so hard doing what you do. So we want to make sure we highlight you guys properly. And to do that, you just have to do one simple thing. Just film yourself. That's it.
Yep. And we'll, if we get a good clip, we might even throw it up on the Instagram page and tag you guys as, a collaborator. Make sure that you get credit for being that angler, because, showcasing those moments on the water is what, it's what makes you. It's like your experience. So we want to share it.
Who did we do that with? Edie? Was that Edie?
Edie. And it didn't sing, guys. I'm just saying. It did really well.
Really good. I mean, we got a lot of views on that reel. What is that? I'm looking now.
20K.
We had a ton of views. It was what is it, right? What's it up to?
20K.
I'm looking right now. It's like over 20,000 views. So we want to highlight you guys. That's what this series is all about. It doesn't matter what kayak brand you use. It doesn't even matter if it's a kayak brand that's not a sponsor of the Kayak Adventure Series. We are, when it comes to the anglers, we just are here to tell your story. It doesn't even matter if you use a GoPro or don't use a GoPro. Even GoPro's told us that. This is all about celebrating everyone, the diversity, giving everyone a level playing field of who we promote and highlight. But you guys just have to send us the content, pictures and video. And like we said, at the new tournaments coming up or the next ones, just a simple shot of you holding your phone out like this and then getting that, holding up that fish is all we need. So we don't need a ton of stuff. Even if you don't have a GoPro or any action camera, you can just do that. And we will use those clips like the one we've shared of Russ who did that. And that was perfect. We got his emotion. It makes these awards really cool to have your videos. We didn't have as much video at Whitehall as we would have loved, to have. And Ryan Parker admitted, he had a GoPro and I forget what happened, but something happened and it wasn't running. It got corrupted. Something happened. Yeah. But we'll definitely use that footage and it makes our awards, obviously really cool. So did you hear? We're on the Did You Hear segment, guys. Did you hear? Which I'll add these now, Jake, if we haven't found them.
I got it. We're good.
You got them? The latest. No, I'm saying the latest. The pictures of our graphics. Do we have those? We don't have them. I can edit them. But did you guys hear about and I wasn't, you guys talked about it last week, but I wasn't here. So,
that's when everyone was confused on us going to Massachusetts. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, well, then maybe that's because we didn't have the graphic. So I'll grab that graphic, but we'll share a little bit about it now. But did you guys hear at Wild Whitehall, we announced the Paris Reel Fest in Paris, Texas. That is going to be at the very end of, it's the weekend after the Bassmaster Classic. So it's called the Paris Reel Fest. I will put it in right now. So we got it. And you guys can see it. Here, I found the graphic. And it's actually, I'll tell you what it is. It's March 28th and 29th. The weekend after the Bassmaster Classic. It's only Paris is only an hour and a half away from that Dallas-Fort Worth area where the Classic's going to be. So, and I will put up the graphic. I'll upload it right now so you guys can see it. But That's going to be exciting, man, because it's the perfect time to be in Texas. It's right when,
And
it's
it's
like
a new lake.
on. There is a brand new lake. Yep, there is a brand new lake there that we will definitely have to talk about now. Maybe share some or go share our screen and kind of zoom in on it so you guys can see what it's all about. And there it is, the Paris Reel Fest, March 28th and 29th, 2025, partnering with the All-American Kayak Series. A little foreshadowing to our guest today, Mr. Josh Boothe, one of the tournament directors there and MoYak director as well.
And All-American is a really good series, guys. Like they, they're the true like regional kayak series, and I think like supporting those kind of series are really important because it's kind of like that stepping stone from local to national. It's kind of the middle ground, and I think those are really important.
Yeah, very important. That new, I'm not trying to find the other one because I know we've got. Oh, here it is.
That was. I think we couldn't find that one last time. We had that one, but we.
This will stop the confusion right here. So the other event is going to be, the next one we announced is the South Boston Bassathon, May 2nd and 3rd, 2025. So let me share a screen, and I will take us to Paris, Texas. So people weren't confused that we were going to Paris, France, but they were confused we were going to Boston, Massachusetts. I guess that's understandable. So I'll share my screen and we'll see what's happening in Paris.
This is going international.
The KAS is going international. Present, share screen, Google Maps, boom. This is Paris, Texas, guys. You can see right here. There's a Dallas area down here. You guys got my screen, I believe.
Yep.
As you go down here, there's a couple theaters, but we're actually going to, I believe, use, I think it's this Grand Theater. I could be wrong which theater we're in, but it's the Grand or this community theater here. I can't remember. But Paris is going to be a sweet venue. Actually, when you zoom into downtown Paris, does it not remind you of Thomaston, Georgia, with the square, right there? It's a fountain instead of the courthouse, but this is kind of the downtown square area. So we'll probably end up having our festival there, just like we did in Thomaston, Georgia for Shoalipalooza. But why are we in Paris? Well, the main reason, and obviously there's lots of lakes and bounds here, and lots of lakes, but the new lake over here, which you can see if you zoom way out, and the satellite image doesn't even show it in existence. As you get further, you can see it's filled up. Lake Bodark right here, guys.
And it's only like, what, 70% full right now? So it's going to get bigger.
Yeah, probably something like that. It's getting closer to 100% now. But see all this here? This is all going to be underwater. Like all this right here, this swamp area where they just kind of, looks like county or highway 897. Everything on the, what side is that? That's the west side. Everything on the west side where Bodark Creek feeds this lake. This is all going to be underwater. Like all of this, probably up to, I'd say all the way up to here somewhere. If I had to guess, maybe even up to this 82 bridge. It's going to be a lot of water. It reminds me of Sparkleberry Swamp area, the headwaters of Santee Cooper. But it's not like that's the only trees they left. You know what I mean? If you zoom in, you can see, like, you actually start zooming in. You can see some old ponds, look, that were filled in that are going to be flooded.
It kind of reminds me of how Possum Kingdom is. There's a lot of old ponds.
Old ponds, and just they left a lot of trees. I mean, you zoom in, you'll see all this buckbrush and trees. The whole place is literally, I mean, you can go this way. It looks again like Caddo a lot, just flooded. And that's going to be incredible.
People back in those trees to places like in their boats, like throwing back into the trees, catching giants because they can't get far enough back in there in their boat. So in a kayak, we'll be able to scoot right in. It's like you're actually going to be at an advantage.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's just great that they did that because that's a lot of good nutrients for the lake. And that's, we've talked about this before, the trophic upsurge. So basically that's going to give a ton of nutrients and it's going to make this lake really good for good 15, 20 years. And then it's still going to probably stay good if they continue to manage it properly and allow grass to grow and stuff like that for the bass. But that is one of the lakes in bounds. There are other lakes that are going to be in bounds too. You got Pat May's Lake to the north, which, you got Lake Crook right here, directly super close in town. To the south. Do we have
the Red River in? Is that?
Jim Chapman Lake will be in bounds for that one. and then also the Red River if you want to fish it, and probably Hugo even in Oklahoma there. So lots of options. We'll dial that in. Every one of those lakes is within an hour, well within an hour. So the question's going to be on that one, really. Like, obviously, everyone wants to go to fish the new lake, okay, to fish Bodark. And there's already reports of fish in the 9-pound range being caught. So
that means 10 by next year, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Every offspring of this, in this that they stocked, in that lake is from I think it was a 14-pounder, a ShareLunker, 14-pounder.
Yeah, the ShareLunker.
So
what are they calling those? They're calling them like the Texas T1 or something.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a special breed, like it's a cross between there was the F1s that were the cross between the Florida.
I think they're calling them T1s
and the Northern.
Texas.
But Texas is different, I guess, because they got
the
ShareLunker genetics. But while we're here, we could let's zip over to let me zip over to where. Hang on, I'm on the wrong Google Maps here. Where in the world? You guys still have my screen?
Yep.
Here it is. Here's the one. I found the right. I had like a couple tabs open. We will go to South Boston because this one's the one that kind of surprised people. No one really knew much about this one. I kept this one under the wrap. South Boston. It actually just confirmed a couple weeks ago. But South Boston has got the Prizery. It's an incredible theater. This giant parking lot behind it, right on the Dan River here. Yeah, it's this giant parking lot for us to park in. The Chamber of Commerce is here. The park is here as well. It's called Constitution Square. We can set up our festival. It's right on the river, the Dan River, which feeds into Bugs Island Lake Kerr, if you're familiar. So that's the Roanoke River that forms that. But there's also so I'm not sure if the whole lake will be in bounds for that one or not. We'll see. But and my internet's like struggling here. I need to get you guys a better view of this stuff. It's probably because I have too many tabs open. So my wife always tells me I have way too much going on at one time.
I feel like that's on brand for you, though.
Yeah, that's true. It really is. Staunton River flows in. It also feeds it. So you got this beautiful Staunton River, which is actually weird because it's the Roanoke River, and then it changes name to the Staunton, and then it changes name again when it exits Bugs Island back to the Roanoke River. I've never seen a river do that, where it literally changes names, and there's a middle portion of it that has a different name. But the lake that in Farmville, Briary Lake, will probably be in bounds. It's within an hour for that event, and I know a lot of people love it. It's a great kayak fishing lake. Love to fish that lake, and that's where our good friends at Yak Attack are based out of, that Farmville area. And then we also have two lakes that for sure will be in bounds in North Carolina, because this is sort of a battle of the border. And we've actually potentially have a big battle of the border joint event with the Carolina and Virginia clubs that we're all going to talk about here. But Hyco Lake down here to the south in North Carolina, and Mayo Lake, both big lakes, not like giant, like, you're not going to see Bassmaster Elite Series on these lakes. They're not that big. They're probably like between, I don't know, not even around 10,000 acres or something like that, maybe 6, 7, 8. Those two lakes are going to be in bounds. So that's pretty exciting to have the Dan River, Mayo Lake, Hyco. You're going to have some of this, if not all of that Kerr Reservoir. I mean, that's a ton of water, dude. This Roanoke River, Staunton River, Briary. That's a lot of water. So that was going to be a good event. Let's see if we can't get hundreds of people there, and everyone can still find their own little place to hang out, So there you go. Yeah,
there's our preview. We probably went a little long on that, but get you hyped for next year.
Let's hype. Yeah, get you hyped. And Josh Boothe isn't even here yet, so we'll keep going. He was going to join around 11:30, I think. We can text him, or you can text him if you want. I sent him the link, the StreamYard link, so hopefully he's got that.
Yeah, he uses StreamYard a lot, so I'm sure he'll be all right.
Yeah, he just needs to know. I'll text him and let him know I sent it to his messenger. Or he may have thought we were talking Central Time. I wonder. All right, I'll tell them we're on now.
But we do have an update on the Ozarkana event with Crocagator, so we can talk about that.
Yeah, let's do
I
that.
did actually talk about this a little bit after you left yesterday, or last week rather, with Crocagator putting up $500 extra to essentially, and we discussed it pretty in depth, but essentially, like, let's say we get 100 people in the event, you know, you pay out that top 15%, you're going to get 2 to 3 more people will get paid because they're donating $500 to the pot to essentially extend the who gets the check. So typically we wouldn't pay down as far as we would, but they're donating more money to basically sponsor the event so that you get a little kickback. And, you know, it's not going to be a lot, but it's enough that, like, you're going to feel good about, you know, okay, my gas is covered. Okay, my entry fee is covered. So
that's actually, when I talked to Joey from Crocagator yesterday, I think what we decided to do, Jake, this is cool. Let's say 100 people are in the event. We pay out 15. Crocagator's $500 is going to get split up $100 to the next 5. It doesn't matter if there's 200 people in the event or what. Just the next 5 that didn't get paid from 100 even. So basically, you know, you're almost getting your entry fee back if you're in the individual division. So that's a pretty cool way where we can pay out, you know, potentially basically 20%, which is awesome. And not like, you know, in something like a free entry fee or here's a prize. No, this is like cash. So, you know, who doesn't love that? So that's pretty cool for all of you guys coming to Ozarkana. Another thing we're doing is I will I'll share my screen again. Actually, no, I'll present a video file. I'll do this. We announced that Modern Buggy is going to be contributing a big prize for, and I'll share this video, Modern Buggy RVs right here. I went and toured them before the Michigan.
These things are sick.
Yeah, those are sweet.
This is what
this is not what you're going to win. You're going to win one called the 4-Bot, but this is what could be the grand prize next year. If all goes well and they like what we're doing in the KAS, they said they're interested in donating one of these grand prize. But I believe I'm going to go and pick one of these up and have it at all the next events just to put on display. You know what I mean? For you guys to check out.
That's so
that
cool.
To me looks like a kayak fisherman's like dream, does it not? I mean, like, it's got everything you need. You know, you can camp.
Super
Have the
cool.
kitchen in the back, save some money, just primitive camp wherever you want. Throw some X2 power stations in there to run power. If you don't have power,
never pay an Airbnb fee again.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you can go check them out at Modern Buggy. I think it's modernbuggyrv.com. But no, those are gonna be cool. You're gonna win the 4-Bot. It's like an $8,000. Someone's gonna win that. And I actually went and updated the thumbnail for this because I meant to kind of put in there Broodstock / AOY update, because what we're thinking about doing, we've got, you know, over $25,000, like our thumbnail says, and all these prizes. And, you know, we want to be able to use that and bring the AOY package down to 2nd and 3rd, you know what I mean, on the team and the individual side. Like, bring the AOY package down. It's, if the AOY winner wins, like everything, it's all or nothing, you know what I mean? Then
right.
Kind of a bummer because, dude, being 2nd in AOY and 3rd in a field like this on a national series is valuable. It's worth something. You've done something. So we've moved that money down, or those prizes down, I should say, to other areas, and to get more people involved, because not everyone's going to have a shot at AOY come Broodstock, right? You kind of know if you do or you don't at that point. What we may end up doing for that 4-Bot, that $8,000 trailer, is actually putting it towards like maybe the winner of Broodstock. And then Kayak Loading Solutions, just talked to Jeff Wilson earlier today on the phone from Kayak Loading Solutions. In about 3 weeks, guys, they're going to have their newest version. You guys have seen that kayak loader, the automatic kayak loader. It goes on, it takes your kayaks on the top of the cab of your truck. Well, they have a brand new version, Jake. This is cool.
I might have a video of it from.
Oh, really? The trailer
of them? No, not the new one. Of the
new one. They have a trailer version coming out. It's going to be in that maybe $35,000 to $4,000 range, but it's not like it's not just a loader. It's literally a kayak trailer with that system already on it for that price. So you get a trailer and the loader all for that price. And it literally will just bring your kayaks by hitting a button onto your trailer automatically. No longer do you have to, strain to get kayaks up on trailers and stuff like that. Obviously we're talking about places that aren't boat ramps where you can just, launch them and drive them right back on or whatever. So, dude, that's pretty sweet. So we're going to have him on in 3 weeks to show off that loader, the trailer version. So that's pretty cool. But what I'm getting at is
ingenious, the rooftop version. He had it at Chili Palooza for on the water demos, and he was showing how it worked. And like he had double big old kayaks up there, and it was just like boop.
So it's very cool. So he's donating one of those to the this overall AOY Broodstock package we're talking about. So we got to figure out kind of where to put that. But
there you go. I mean, it's going to be a lot of things to go for.
Yeah, a ton to fish for at Broodstock because, we don't have I say we don't have a lot, but we do have a fair amount, but we don't have a ton of prizes at all these events. We're mostly giving away the cash, right? Now, Boondocks is there and Jeff Little, he's giving away that Boondocks Big Bass Bling prize. We've got some gift cards from Yak Attack. We've got, things like that. Obviously the trophies, GoPro potentially, but all of the prizes from our sponsors, the bidding branches, the power poles, the Torpedo, the X2, a lot of the X2 stuff, all of these prizes, I could go on and on, right? About all of our sponsors, all the ones that have kind of higher price point items. That's all going to be given away at Broodstock for AOY and for the, like I said, down to 3 places in AOY for team and individual, and to the actual winners of that event, which is cool because they're going to have our normal payouts, if not a little bit bigger, because we've been a little bit of money gets siphoned off at every event. So there might be a little bit stronger, payouts, or maybe we can go deeper into the field. So we're trying to make Broodstock just the biggest party and celebration possible every year. And so it just makes sense to give all that stuff away at Broodstock. So that's an update on that kind of AOY and Broodstock package that's around 25,000. And that's going to keep growing. So think about it. If we get a bunch of people in that event, and we're paying out, if there's enough people and it's a $15,000 or $20,000 total, you add that 25 to it in prizes and stuff that's going to get given away. That's pretty darn big.
Not to mention we do raffle, you mentioned it, but like the kayak raffle is like huge. I mean, that's like everyone has their own specific kayak that you can win. And that U10, we had a lot of people in that entry. What substantial amount more than Chili Palooza, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We're starting to do a little bit better job of promoting that and raising money for pediatric cancer.
Right.
So
I think having it at the event was a good thing because it gave people that were fishing the event a chance to come and get it, enter the raffles. So we'll try to do a more upfront job of having that like there so that everyone can enter it. I know I entered it. So
absolutely, man. Anybody can win. Let's move on to until Josh may have thought we were talking about Central Time. Now that I think about it, I'll go ahead and hit it. Bust a myth. Let's bust a myth presented by Boondocks. What is our myth today, Jake? Do you remember?
It was trolling. That trolling, you can't win with trolling. So we had a guy I talked to Billy. Billy he's familiar with him because he's an Ohio angler, and he was telling me like whenever he announced it, he started talking about trolling. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And like Billy and I were in the back, and Billy whispers to me, he's like, yeah, he's notorious for that. He's really good at it. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Because I guess some people, he's up on Lake Erie trolling for, walleye and big smallmouth, stuff like that. So it was interesting that someone who placed high in the event and then won the team division was actually trolling. And he said he caught some good ones. So
that's why we wanted to make this our busting myth, because I was so excited on stage, and I forgot to mention this last week. That was Alex Roberts was the coolest thing on stage to me personally when I heard someone in the top 10 was trolling to catch bass. I'm not sure if every one of his fish came off trolling. I think most of them did. He was trolling, and I was like, dude, that's awesome, man. The more creative ways that we can help the anglers have a better time and learn how to catch these fish in a better way, and as long as it's legal by the state and the country, why would we not allow it? You know what I mean? Like, as long as it's legal. So we did that. He caught fish trolling. That was so cool because we've always dreamt about a top 10 that's like, and we had guys in the lake in the top 10, lots of guys in the lake.
I think he was in the lake. He was in
the lake patrolling. River guys, lake guys, creek guys, trolling guys, forward-facing sonar guys. You know what I mean? Like just simple, all the different ways, spot lock, all the different tools, you know, a torpedo. It's like, it's really cool when we see all those different ways to get it done because we all have our different styles. I just can't fish slow. And obviously with my personality and just full of energy, I can't go slow. It's just not in my like DNA.
You got a lot of tabs open IRL.
What's that?
I said you have a lot of tabs open in your mind IRL.
That's right. Exactly. So I like to fish that way, and we should celebrate anyone else who's like that and celebrate. So it's cool that we got to celebrate trolling on stage and kind of bust a myth that, you know, first of all, that if you allow trolling, it's not going to like obviously magically be like everyone's going to win trolling, which I don't think anyone thought that. And if they didn't, then why is trolling in kayak tournaments not allowed? Period. You know what I mean? If it's only like the rare occasion it kind of comes into play and it's legal,
Yeah,
why
it's
should
interesting. Like I did talk to Alex and his partner, I believe Mitch Sanders was his partner. I talked to them afterwards, and they were talking kind of just about the team division. I actually have a video clip of it. It's real quick if we want to watch it.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Just talking about like the team division in general, because we've had a lot of positive feedback on the team division. So I'll play that clip real quick. It's real short.
Yeah, go for it.
Of the team division, first, second. What were you guys' names?
Alex Roberts, Mitch Sanders.
Okay, and did you guys like the team?
Oh yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was good format. 5 and 5 is perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, we got a lot of feedback that people really enjoyed the team aspect. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Congrats on getting first place, and have fun at Disney.
Yeah, thank you.
So backstory on that, he actually was up against the clock because he was getting ready to go to Disneyland with his family. Because I was like, hey man, you got time to do like a quick interview and stick around? And he's like, well, I gotta get back. And I was like, well, I'll be real fast. And he's told me that he was going to Disney with his family. So he won the team division, drove home, flew to Disney. So
that's
the way to
cool,
do it.
man. That's a cool story. That was a great little post interview too. Short, sweet, you know, and you got to see their excitement about that X2 Power, you know, team division. So that's pretty cool. So that one's definitely one we're not going to scrap. Sunday side pot, whatever, hasn't worked out so far, and we'll scrap it for this season. But the team division has been awesome. The micro
I'd love to just double down on the team division. Like, I think that it's something that, I got some feedback from someone that said like the team division is arguably the most attractive thing about the series, because not many trails do that anymore. It's just like kind of a lost art, and people love fishing together. Like if you fish with your buddy, it's like, I think there's a different, like, I don't know if it's strategy or just like mentality with a team thing that a lot of people enjoy. So
yeah, for sure. And of course you don't have to fish with them either. You can fish completely separately like Lance and Tim do. But if you want to fish together and you're allowed to communicate between each other, like in this series, like other kayak series, you can talk to the anglers, so you can actually help each other, out a little bit. So it's interesting.
I actually fished a team event Saturday with Ryan, Yak Dragger, and it was a good time. We ended up winning.
He literally just texted me right now. That was the ding, if you guys heard it, which is funny because he must not realize that I'm on the live, and he's saying he's talking with Brandon. So I guess he's driving with Brandon.
Yeah, they're going to Nebraska to do some
fishing. Asking me, do I ever fish a jig? So before I answer Ryan's question, who's not even on the live stream, he doesn't even realize we're live, I need to answer some of these guys' questions on the side. You guys in the comments, I appreciate everybody out there. So let's highlight a couple of these. It looks like Josh Boothe thought we were talking Central Time. He may not be able to make it, which is fine because, Jake, you fished the MoYak River Series event this past weekend, so you can give us the update that Josh was going to. So maybe you can pull those standings up or whatever you want to do and just talk about your event with Ryan. One big bass. But let's first answer some questions. Josh Sharp, hey buddy, love you, man. I've got to fish one or two of these this year. It's killed me, talking to John and Rudd and seeing them have a blast in these events. Yeah, you got to come on, man. It's really like, even this Missouri one, it's not that far. It's literally as far east as you can get in Missouri. It's like 3.5 hours from Nashville, 4 hours. So, Josh, it can't be that much further for you. If you want to come over there and go ahead and fish this one, you can. Go get with John Dalton, Creek Fishing Adventures, or somebody right over there. But hopefully we'll see it, some of them, later this year, whether it's the Susquehanna, the Wisconsin River Fest, or Broodstock. Man, Southwest Indiana Outdoors. Sorry to hear he's got ruptured appendix and had an emergency appendectomy on Father's Day. Wow. But he's working on getting recovered for Ozarkana. That there couldn't be a better recovery, I would say, than getting out there on the water, especially those beautiful Ozark lakes and streams. So hopefully he'll be off those restrictions by then. Hank's over here saying that Paris, Texas is one of his favorite movies too. So I thought that was like a movie as well. I don't remember it, but I thought that it recognized like it as a movie as well. So we'll have to go check that out. And he's saying also he has an update for us. So Virginia and North Carolina licenses are valid on both sides of the lake. So that's good to know for Kerr as well. And what's up, James? James Fought there from Midwest Kayak Company. Dustin Hoy, what's up, man? From Raccoon Creek. Matt, I see you got a question here. Will you guys be doing any events on the new river this year or in years coming? If this thing keeps going, there's no way we're not going to hit the new. There's no way at some point we're going to not hit the new. But we've just announced our Virginia stop for 2025, so you can probably already guess it's not 2025. So, but that Dan River, the Staunton River, the rivers, the Roanoke there, all those that are flowing in that area, they're pretty darn good too. So you might want to check those out for next year's stop at the South Boston Bassathon. And dude, that was going to be a Bassathon for sure. And then let's see, Luke's going to be in Ozarkana. Cool. We'll see you there, Luke. And
get signed up, guys.
Let's show
if you're coming to Ozarkana, get signed up early, get your gift bags, because I know there's going to be a huge surge of people coming up here. So
yes, we are going to, Jake, remind me this, now that we've kind of talked about this a little bit more in depth here, we've made some posts recapping the Michigan event. We're going to make a post with these graphics on our Instagram so you guys can have those. May 2nd and 3rd, 2025. And again, it's not just Bugs Island. It's Mayo. It's Hyco. Mayo Lake, Hyco Lake. It's Briery. It's in Bounds. It's the Staunton, Roanoke, Dan Rivers, all the creeks that feed into those. So it's a bunch of water. So that one's pretty exciting. So Ronald, hopefully that answers your question. So looking at what else we got to cover here before we get into that, may be about it.
Yeah.
We're just going to quickly cover how things are going at Ozarkana, like looking towards that event. How are river levels? How are water levels at the lakes? I mean, it's fishing pretty good. I mean, you guys caught some big fish at that MoYak event. Tell us about it.
Yeah. The water levels are good. That's coming back down. We've had a lot of rain this spring, even this summer. Like a lot of upper sections of the northernmost river, like I would claim the Ozark rivers, have been pretty high. Even some of the southern sections, like the St. Francis, which is one of the rivers we have in play, is notorious for flooding. We got a lot of rain. It was up real high. So the water levels should be good. I got to imagine like they'll creep down into the summer pools because that's just the nature of the river. But I don't think we're going to be in like a really low river scenario for the most part. And July is a great month on the Ozark rivers. I mean, fish just bite. It's just, I don't know what it is about the Ozark rivers. They just like all summer long, it just feels like you can pretty much get away with almost anything. And we actually did a pretty long float when we did the river series on Saturday. We did close to 20 miles. So it was not for the faint of heart, but we wanted to get away from people. Unfortunately, we did run into a lot of floaters, but it really didn't impact the fishing. And I can show the standings from that event. And the reason why we're talking about this, just to kind of explain it, is a lot of these anglers here are fishing waters that are in bounds for the event. Now, Ryan and I fished a little further north than you'll be able to in our event. But there were several anglers, and I'm not going to like specifically name them, that were in bounds for our event. Ryan caught a big one. This would have been a 20 in a KAS event because you can pinch the tail. It touched 20 when you pinch the tail, but you can't do that in MoYak. So that's one thing we'll have to come to agreement on. That is where the rules are slightly different. And you can always take two pictures.
There's a picture of it there that you guys had sent me. I think Josh Boothe sent this to me actually. So
Yeah.
huge fish, and you know,
it's
given
old. Like he was old.
yeah, you can tell. You know, the other thing this was a river series event, which is why we're kind of talking a lot about the rivers right now. But Kayak Adventure Series, you've got the lakes and mounds from that Duck Creek Conservation Area. You get Domingo Wilderness, any lakes and kind of ponds in there. You've got the Wapapello, which put out a couple 29-pound bags. You've got Clearwater Lake. So you were talking about the rivers and creeks in summer pattern, how they fish really good. Lakes in the past, I would say, people struggle with lakes once it starts to get pretty hot in that climate. You know what I mean? In the South, especially. I don't know if I consider this the South, but it's a warm climate still. You know, so I would say it's going to fish tough in the middle of the summer, but we may not be quite to that toughest fishing yet. And electronics have improved so much in forward-facing sonar that now, when they move out to the ledges or out to their humps and places they all congregate to, I think a little sneaky here. I think some lake guys that know how to use their electronics on one of those lakes could potentially win this thing. You know, so I know
I agree. I mean, so I fished Wapapello last year, right, for a MoYak event, but it was much later in the year. Everybody was, you know, they were struggling a bit with like the temps and just like it was a tough day. But honestly, the top people caught fish, and the guy who caught big bass in that tournament, he caught an absolute monster. So like, you know,
in the lake, right?
In the lake, and you can do well there. Like there's no doubt about it. Like you can do super well on Wapapello, on Duck Creek. I mean, those fish are in there. It's just going to come down to like what you want to do. I'm trying to find the picture of one of those fish that came out of the lake just to show you guys.
Because I think that's something we probably don't touch on enough because we just personally love rivers. But I mean, this guy, I mean, they catch them in that lake. Those lakes, they catch them in there. And if you know what you're doing with your electronics, the way it's like the summertime and the wintertime, bass really stack up together in lakes. They really bunch up. And when you have that, if you find them, we saw just recently the Bassmaster Elite Series was won, you know, on Wheeler Lake by Cliff Prince. And he found that needle in a haystack spot where he just sat there and threw it was an area, he had two hard spots the size of a bass boat, and literally made the same cast, and he just caught fish after fish after fish and won the Bassmaster Elite Series tournament. So there are spots like that on those lakes, and someone that knows them and knows how to fish lakes and is going to have far less competition because we have multiple lakes and bounds. That's going to spread out some of the lake anglers.
Exactly.
All these rivers and creeks and bounds. Someone's going to potentially find that spot on the lake and not have anybody to share it with, which would be, you know, pretty cool. So,
and I will say, like, most of the lakes that are in bounds are big enough that you can really like host a lot of anglers on them. Like there's going to be a lot of water inbound. Like Wapapello is a large lake. There's a river section, there's a lake section. Because it flows freely into Wapapello. And you can fish below the dam. I mean, there's options. I did find that picture after some hunting. So this right here, it's not a great picture. I apologize for that, but this is a 21 plus inch largemouth in the heat of the summer. You know, and you might look at my kayak and you're like, that doesn't look like something that I'd be fishing out of. Like, you know, I've got my live scope on there. I got 2 graphs. You know, I'm just loaded for bear. Usually you don't see me like that, but I actually live scoped this fish in deep water. So this is actually up in the river section though, and the water's up. You can't see my cursor, but along that ledge there's some current coming over some brush, and we were able to find that fish kind of hunkered down deep. So there's some big ones in there, guys. Like I think every water body inbounds for this event is going to be insane. So
I think so too. I'm gonna tell Ryan. I'm gonna tell Ryan that I'm gonna answer him on the live. So he's got to go over to the live. If he wants an answer to his question. So I will answer that now because you're fishing, talking, you know, bass and lakes in the middle of the summer. I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of ways to catch them, but Ryan's asking me, do I ever throw a jig? And my favorite jig is the Z-Man cross-eyes power finesse jig. I like that smaller, more compact one, but it's still a power. Notice the word power. in there is still that powerful enough where the hook is big enough where you could boat flip the fish. You know what I mean? And dude, I've done this on my Instagram. I'm pretty sure I posted it. Trim off that. If I had one here, I'd show you. Trim off the pro crawls. Oh, here we go. Here's the pro crawls. Trim off this pro crawls like a half inch, like a half inch, because that hook isn't quite long enough and big enough for that power finesse jig from Z-Man. Trim this off. Just cut basically with these little let me get this these things right here. Cut basically from right there off, like straight. That's kind of my line where I cut it off. So it ends up being like this. You know what I mean? Those things are gone. And thread that on there, and it just makes it big and bulky. It kind of covers that whole hook and that, the skirt on it. Trim it up a little bit. So this thing really, and these pinchers, they float. These are the Z-Man elastics. They float. So when it's in the water, man, that's a great jig. It's my favorite thing to throw. And if I was on a lake that had a rocky substrate bottom in the middle of the summer, and I was trying to find those school of bass, or once I did find them and I caught them on moving baits and aggressive baits, whether it's a crankbait or whatever else, a deep diving jerk bait, if it gets deep enough or anything like that, Carolina rig, whatever I would definitely throw that jig out there and just drag the bottom with it. I was teaching someone this the other day on a trip. I think it was my father-in-law. I was like, dude, all I do with the jig is throw it out there, let it sink. And because these, when the weight of that lead head starts bouncing over rocks, these things go crazy. These Elastec, like tips of the crawfish, you don't need to pop it and do anything crazy. If you're just in a rocky substrate, you know what I mean? They might be different if you're around grass or something, you got to pop it out. But on the rock, it's naturally going over stuff. And that crawfish is like just giving action like crazy. So just keep your finger on your line and just drag it the whole and just feel. And you'll feel that bite, especially if you got straight braid like I love to use. You're going to just all of a sudden feel like this thump, and your whole line's going to jump. So you're going to feel it because your finger is on the line. You know what I mean? But anyway, you drag it like this. And if you're all the way, if you're pointed at where the fish are and you drag it and you're over here now, like you went from 12 o'clock all the way to 3 o'clock, then what you got to do is if you get a bite at 3 o'clock, you need to wind back and make sure that rod tip, wind up the slack is facing 12 and then hammer them. A lot of people don't realize that, if you're dragging it like that, obviously if you get bit right at 12 o'clock, as soon as you start moving, you can just lay into them, but you got to wind up that and hammer them. And that's my favorite jig setup. Maybe next week I'll just have one rigged up here and show you guys how it looks. So anyway, maybe they tuned into that. Maybe they didn't, but Brian and Brandon, you guys have fun. Trip to Nebraska and tune into the live next time. You'll get the juice.
I think you're right though. A lot of times with the jig, you catch them on the fall. So like if they don't eat it, they don't eat it.
Yeah. So anything else you want to, before we end here, we're at about an hour, which is what we normally try to stick to. Doesn't always work, but we try. Anything about Ozarkana we can think about? I remembered one. Go on the Ozarkana website, guys. There are 2 of official lodging partners, 2 hotels we're using. They're giving us a discount. They're holding some rooms for us. If you are a hotel person, I'm probably going to stay at the Holiday Inn. There's also a Fairfield. Both of them are official partners, but I'll probably be at the Holiday Inn. And I mean, they're right next to each other. They're pretty close. So that's where we'll be. So do not forget to take advantage of those discounts and the fact they'll have availability because they're holding some rooms for us. So yeah. And I believe the Holiday Inn has a restaurant there too with it. And so I think so. So it should be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really hard to go wrong too in Poplar Bluff because it's a really the city's just easy to get around. I really enjoyed that city when we went and visited it. So
yeah.
And it's the center of everything. So I highly recommend staying in Poplar Bluff or, not too far from it. I know that their Chamber of Commerce does run like some of the things like the Wapella area and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's going to be fun. I'd love to see the MoYak guys show out. Let's see if we can, see if you guys can top Michigan's score. I think 93 1/4 won. So let's see if we can top that.
I think it'll be done. The guy who won the one in late August was like 90. I want to say it was like 93, and it was not an ideal time, but there was plenty of people in the top 5 that had like, those mid to high 80s. So I imagine with the rivers being in play, you'll see some pretty consistent bags. Like I think it'll be pretty competitive. So
like low mid 80s will be pretty far down the leaderboard, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be like one of those ones where like 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch upgrades will be a big thing. So
yeah, for sure. What about the fact that we have a day and a half? You guys, that tournament was won with what, 87 that you just showed?
it was 87.5, yeah. And honestly, I would say the bite was pretty soft. Like I had like 79 inches and I got 4th. So
Yeah.
I lost a lot of fish, but I was also fishing with Ryan. So like when we were partners. So
Putting
like
up a little bit, yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's why I think we will get to those mid 90s, if not higher, because we have a day and a half, and this is a long day. We actually just changed the website. We changed the time, the lines in time. It's super early because it gets light early. We want you guys to get out there at first light, be able to make the first cast. So I'm pretty sure first cast is 5:30 on the website. We changed it in line, and you can get on the water at 5. So this is going to be critical. We'll talk about this again leading up to the event. I think Friday's strategy is going to be super critical because that is a tight window to get back, get rest. You know what I mean? Like, who's going to be smart, have everything ready to roll for Saturday so where they can get back from where they're fishing on Friday and get to sleep, like, let's say by 9:30 and have energy to go a long day, 5:30 to 3. You're talking a 9.5 hour day. So the other thing that comes into play, super long floats for those river guys, right? Even longer potentially. Well, if you do
there's also some really short ones. So like what that could do is you might have enough time to do 2 different sections.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh, for sure. You could do 2 different sections to just move. But the tricky part is if you're doing a super long float, what does that mean? Generally, a longer shuttle. And if we're talking about like who can strategize and actually plan a shuttle the night before, hey dude, let's leave your truck at the bottom the night before, and then let's all load our kayaks up in this other truck. And we, maybe it's someone, your partner, your teammate, or who you're staying with, or whoever is helping you for this event, or you're just coordinating with someone to just pick you up at the end of the day, so you don't have to run a shuttle at 3:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like 4 in the morning, just to get on the water by lines in time. So strategy is going to come into play big time because this is the longest tournament hours we'll have, maybe all year, but for sure.
And we'll have some people doing shuttles as well. That is one thing I wanted to point out. I know a local guy who's going to be coming down to help with shuttling.
Okay.
So that's something you'll definitely want to book ahead of time. Talk to your friends, find a buddy.
Yeah.
If you do a shuttle, I think like you can single access on some of the rivers, like the Black.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think single access will be a huge factor on things like the St. Francis or even the Castor. So keep that in mind if you're planning on fishing those rivers.
With a torpedo or something, maybe you just go upstream.
Maybe, but a lot of the problem with these rivers is there's a lot of rocky riffles and you can't really get up them with a motor. So I would just plan accordingly. That's what pre-fishing is for, guys. Do your map study. I mean, I'm sure, you can find someone to shuttle you. Like anybody's, if you offer someone else a shuttle, they might, do a shuttle for you. You just ask around, figure it out.
Right.
And like I said, we'll have some people there to do shuttles as well. So,
no, I agree. That's gonna be a big player. That I just did the math, by the way, this is only 2.5 hours less than 2 8-hour tournament days. You know what I mean? Like a 2-day tournament that's Saturday and Sunday that's 8 hours each day. We're only fishing 2.5 hours less because that long day on Saturday. We really want to get you guys out there, when it's the best fishing in that morning. So I think we can hit, because of having said that, if the winter was 87 and obviously that there's more water inbounds at our event, some different lakes, different fisheries, I really think that we'll probably see mid 90s. Because if that angler who won that tournament had another like 5.5 hours, he probably would have hit 90 something inches.
I think Tyler did. I know Tyler, so I think he said he ended a little early. So I think he floated from 6 to I want to say 4. So what is that? 10 hours. So.
Oh, that's a long, yeah.
Because you get 6 to 6 in the river series, and they do that just to make it so if you work, you get more time. You don't necessarily have to start early, or you don't have to go late, because not everybody wants to be on the river for 12 hours. So they give you like that 12-hour window in in the River Series. But that bite was pretty soft. We've just kind of finally gotten the summer patterns. So I think like this week I've heard the river's fishing a lot better already. So, and big fish were caught. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Like, I think if Ryan goes down that stretch by himself without me, he probably gets 90. So, and
probably,
vice versa.
yeah, because you guys are splitting it. So I think mid 90s is definitely going to win. And you just never know when you're catching 21s in the lake in the middle of summer, you know, so you don't ever know when someone catches a 21, 22, you know, that helps them all of a sudden now have a chance for a cross kick century belt, you know? So,
yeah. And I do want to point out, you know, I mentioned like the floating thing, like there's a lot of really compact floats on this. One of the good things about Missouri is there's a lot of access points that are like reasonable. So I don't think it's out of the question to do like a 5-mile float in the evening, especially on like, you know, any of the upper St. Francis, you know, the lower St. Francis, and then like the Black and the Current. Those shorter floats will be in play. So if you're a river guy or not a river guy, but you maybe want to dabble in the rivers on Friday, then go to the lake on Saturday, like I think it's definitely in the cards. There's plenty of compact floats on there. And those are the types of places where you could single access. If you don't want to go all the way up, you do your map so you're like, okay, I want to fish this stretch. You could single access, go to the top, float back down, and just do a circle. So,
yeah, exactly. There we go. They got on now. The real yak dragger is here. They're on the way to Nebraska. It sounds like you have to rewind, Ryan. I answered your question. Nice and in depth too. Talking about putting this jig on the crawfish. I mean, I won Grand Lake with this jig and craw. I mean, dude, most all my wins in 2020, whatever.
I saw Drew catch a big old smallmouth on a jig at Michigan.
Yeah, we're on that cross-size power finesse. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were right next to each other catching fish, and I was throwing this exact jig that with this crawl trailer on it.
Because we saw a big one, and we're like, "What is that?" And you're like, "I don't know." And you throw it in there, and it's like, boom, like instantly.
Yep. So. There's a green pumpkin is the color I love to use on that Z-Man power finesse jig. 3/8 and 1/4 ounce. I love that 1/4 ounce a lot actually because it makes when you put the elastic on, it actually makes it fall slower. So love them both, throw them both, and it crushes fish. Just trim this up. Like I said, the pro crawls is the way to go, not the regular small TRD crawls, the pro crawls, but just trim it. The last thing I'll mention before we'll get out of here now because we've been going a little over an hour is I'm probably going to be able to announce this. We may have an exciting name coming to speak at Ozarkana. So we'll announce that next week. You guys all know who he is. It's a very, famous bass angler.
And he's not completely foreign to the kayak fishing world in the sense of, I won't give anything away.
He kind of is, but not a little bit too. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting if they, if he makes it, we'll see, but it's looking positive. So I just don't want to announce it yet until it's confirmed. But I know I'm going to do a seminar there. Jeff Little is coming, so he might do one as well. But I'm definitely going to do one. And then this other person that we're trying to get.
We've even toyed around with me doing one, which is crazy because I was talking about just filming, and a lot of people have always asked about filming, and I think that could be a good seminar at some point. Just going through the ins and outs of rigging your kayak to film, your day. Because it's not as straightforward as it might seem to a lot of people.
It's not. As a matter of fact, we could always throw that in as like what Gene did at Palooza. He had the kayak rigging seminar. Everyone huddled around. Afterwards, we could make that a short, 20, 30 minute there for people who want to stick around and have your kayak there ready, showing all how you have it hardwired and how it works. So, yeah, that's a good idea for sure. But yeah, the Bass U brunch will be awesome. And we're going to be at Half Whiskey for that. That's a cool whiskey saloon in Poplar Bluff. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. We will see you guys, I guess, on the next one. Any closing thoughts, Jake?
Nope. Sign up for Ozarkana, guys. Let's get those numbers up and get your gift bags.
Gift bag, top 50. First 50. Get $100 gift bags. So I'm loading them up right here. So, yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.